going for a little walk into a mystery to find out what the Navy was actually doing with this strange-looking bunker in the middle of a wonderful forest without any preconceived information. It's just awesome. There is nothing like a autumn European forest. It is just gorgeous. It is absolutely wonderful. And I'm in a really interesting place in time and history right here. I am in a forest not far from Oranienburg. Oranienburg, a lot of interesting things have happened. You had a lot of radioactive materials that was produced here at the Auerwerke during the war. Gottorf is on the other side of Berlin. And out here in this forest, a lot of interesting things happened. You had an SS camp with SS bunker, not far from here. You had the Navy set up a huge bunker system from where they controlled their submarines during the war, and it gets better after the war. The Stasi built bunkers out here. So this whole forest, well, it was full of a lot of military history, and I quite frankly don't know exactly what to expect, because I haven't been here before. So we're just gonna go for a walk in a beautiful, gorgeous autumn forest outside of Berlin, basically. So I make my way into the forest. I start seeing the first pillars for what would have to have been a Sperrgebiet. If the Navy had a big bunker in here, communications, and the SS, that would have been a Sperrgebiet. And if the Stasi was here, I would imagine this whole forest was off limits right up until after the Cold War, where again, everybody built on top of what everyone else had already built. Plus, during the fighting for Berlin, there would have been heavy fighting going on out here in this forest as well, especially because there was actually something to defend of the Navy headquarters, the SS bunkers, and here we have a thing. First hole in the ground. Looks a little newer than World War II. Well, this looks like an old sofa. Where's the proverbial tire? There it is. There's the tire. Good. Now we know we're looking at military history because there's no car tire. So I'm guessing well, that's not much. Old Garsha, old carport. Styrofoam, we'll see that. Okay. And in there are buildings. This could have been vehicle shelter. I'm sure there's so many people that live in these big German cities with so much history that don't appreciate what a walk in the woods really could be. If you live far away, you really get to appreciate this. By the end of 1939, the Kriegsmarine had acquired 54 hectares of land here in Lobenthal, and first they erected a 2-meter tall barbed wire fence. Then the trucks started moving material in to begin the construction of what the locals wrongly called a Marineschule, a Navy academy. Shortly after that, 4 80-meter high interconnected masts sprung up from the middle of the restricted zone in order to send and receive radio signals. Here they were building a secret bunker complex for the German Navy Command. The Luftwaffe had the Bunkeranlage Kurfürst in Potsdam and Lager Robinson in Rometer Heide, while the Oberkommando des Heeres and Oberkommando des Wehrmacht had the Nachrichtenzentrale Zeppelin in Wunstorf, where we already were a few times. And the SS communication bunker we saw last week is only 20 minutes drive from here. Initially, the Navy had much bigger plans for the construction of the bunker complex here, but given the war's successes, they scaled it back and never returned to those plans. This was Lager Koralle. It was completed from an operational perspective at the end of 1942.
At that point, it consisted of a tall bunker, a Lagerzimmerbunker, a Fernmeldebunker with a single-story building on top, barracks for military personnel, barracks for the female Marienhilferin, and officers' casino, officers' club, known as Villa Dönitz. There was various service buildings, offices, and several fire ponds. At its peak, over 1,000 people were employed here and around the complex. The Luftwaffe flew continuous inspection flights over the area and gave detailed reports concerning the state of camouflage, suspicious shadows, and ordering the removal of paths between barracks. This is one of the first references to Air Force counter-surveillance I actually found, although they happened far earlier than this. In addition to a fire hydrant system, fire ponds were constructed, and given the classical German way of doing things, complicated, the architects had been ordered to avoid any regular shapes, and ordered to make all the fire ponds in different shapes from each other to avoid detection or suspicion by Allied reconnaissance flights. By late March 1945, Koralle was only manned by Dönitz and a skeleton crew. Most of the other staff had already moved on to other Navy intelligence locations, but Dönitz wanted to stay here as long as possible to keep in contact with Hitler. The Soviets reached the perimeter, 1945, by the 21st of March. The remaining Navy soldiers and a group of pioneers tried to destroy some of the bunkers and the U-boat diesel generators by throwing hand grenades and explosives into these, as well as blowing up, destroying the antennas.
Well, aluminum siding is not exactly World War II. Looks like... no idea what this looks like. Let's see, let's go around the trees. We see the same thing in Sussen. Out of Hitler's headquarters. Over there is that little bunker that looked post-war. Whatever this is, something the Russians made. That's been broken up since. Yeah. Not the drone we're looking for, is it? Alright, we'll continue into the forest. Let's find the bunkers we're looking for. But we're on the right track. It could have been a guard shack. I think probably housing for the East German guards. And the first clearing, there's something large in there. I guess I'm expecting to see something like Wolfschanze with Hitler's large bunkers. Built for the Navy, built for Hitler communications, same thing. And that does look like what I'm looking at. Well, and there's moss or seaweed growing on the sides, just like at Mauerwald. Good for camouflage, and it's interesting how obviously it was blown up and it lifted. So they didn't build it deep. They built it literally like a brick sitting on the ground. And somebody's been doing something on top of it. All of this is a post-war something. It's actually quite big. There's plenty of holes to get in. I think somebody built something on top of it. Somebody's been playing around, obviously, but they're still part of the original bunker. Let me see. Parallel and vertical. So that parallel and vertical lines in one, and then it was demolished and separated. I gotta get the drone up to see exactly how this is laid out. Interesting. Oh, it's too cold for there to be mosquitoes today. Come on. And I'm just curious why there's an open space here. There would have been an enormous transmitter sitting here somewhere if they were transmitting from here to their submarines. Close defense? I don't know. I would imagine the Russians also, or the East Germans as they were, used this as a troop training area, unless it was closed off as a Stasi location. And if Stasi was involved, that was the East German secret police. If they had anything anywhere around here, that would have been off limits to regular soldiers. Well, needless to say, this was large and well built with rebar, obviously. All right. Move out here. Don't really have much to say about it. I don't really know much about it. Except there's a lot of rebar in here. There was a lot of metal in this. Well, things looks better with a little light. Let's see if we can get in, if that's all we can get into. No. Ah, shame. So I'm guessing I'm sitting under the roof. Got some rope there. Sorry, you're gonna have to be sideways for a minute. That is metal. That could have been part of water cistern, oil tank. You know, they could blow these up a little bit more considerate for those of us who's going to crawl through them 70 years later. I am imagining the Navy blew these up before the Russians took the area, And I am just imagining that, because I damn well would have, because the Russians could have used this. And since they obviously occupied this area, and it was blown. Yes, it was blown. There's shrapnel everywhere. Gee, the fact that it's collapsed and separated in all main parts, that's not what gives away that it was blown up. Alright, I'm having fun now. Well, let's go the other way around. Get on the roof. These really are massive structures. And you can lay down there, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. Huh. Yeah, well, not really a whole lot. I think see Russian guys can. Not a lot left of this. Alright, let's see what else we can find. I could see this being a fun place to play as a kid. I'm an adult, I find it a fun place to play. But all this stuff that's built up here, I just don't know if that has anything to do with the original bunker. I know who will know, and we'll see her later. This was blown up and then somebody built stuff on top of it to play, but it was blown up damn well. This really, I haven't seen that anywhere before, that it's fractured that many places. After demolition. Now that looks original. Wow, here you can really see the demolition of it. This was a good 4 meters, 5 meters thick. This roof was really, I mean, it does resemble Hitler's bunkers out at Wolfschanze. I hope I can find photos of this place before it was demolished, because it would be very interesting to see what it looked like, easy to determine what's what. So that staircase looks original. This really got hammered. Never seen. Usually when they get blown up, they sort of break off into segments. Not like this. Let's try to get over here. Without falling down there. Because that will just be very ungrateful. That would just not be pretty. I mean, this really was demolished very well. And it must have been built in separate sections. Otherwise it just wouldn't crack like this. I've never seen anything like this. Even Bormann's bunker, Hitler's bunkers, den Wolfschanze. They were all broken off in one or two pieces. You know what? Now that I'm looking at this, this is not held together by rebar. There's no rebar holding these pieces together. Or sticking out, and I said now one strand, but so this was separated. There's probably a little walkway, but all of these, there's no rebar holding this together, and there should have been. I've never seen a bunker like this. That's the problem. This was not held together by an enormous interlaced layer of rebar. There is rebar in it, but not here on the roof holding it together. So I wonder if they built the bunker and they just poured an enormous amount of cement like this here on top, just for an added safety, and the actual bunker is inside with probably a section underground. That is interesting. And this was there. See, this is held together by a bit of rebar. This section was there. This is original. Yeah, this is original, and there would have been an antenna. Although there must have been something bigger than this. If this was going to transmit all the way to the Atlantic, honestly, given this layout, with that looking more like ammo storage, I would rather think this is a flak position. Honestly. But, well, anything's possible. Very interesting. Very interesting design and layout and construction. Look, it's like this little top layer. Like there's a slab on top of all this that's been poured. It even sounds hollow when I walk on it. Very strange. Wonder if this is something else entirely. And here's some more tires. So we know we're at a historical, military historic location. It's full of tires, yes. This is different than I thought. And it looks like there's compartments up here. That's a stand. That's a stand. The other one's a stand. This is a lame jump. No price. What are you gonna do? What an interesting place. I think the only way to figure this out is to try to take a look at it from the air. There's another, looks like a foundation. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It has a different shape to it. It looks like a wall that's fallen. There's the foundation. There that is. So I got 3 of these at least. Again, no rebar holding these sections together. Just an interesting observation for something this big that obviously is, well, you would think would have been reinforced. Let's see what it looks like.
This is actually the Lagerzimmerbunker, camp room bunker. It was constructed as a 2-story Hochbunker with a lower floor that was eventually partially covered up by dirt they moved in after the construction was complete. The Lager bunker is often referred to as the flak bunker as it had 3 AA guns fixed on the roof. And I'm still going to call it that, so there. Now, because of the plans and photos have mostly been destroyed, it is not entirely clear if the AA cannons was an afterthought or they were always planned to be there. They don't really seem an integrated part of the plans of the Lagerzimmerbunker, and given the unreinforced platforms they were placed on, it sort of backs up that notion. By building the flak platforms, the ceiling was then increased from 2.5 meters to 3.5 meters, and the large square center block with the holes in it was the ventilation for the bunker inside and was completely unrelated to the flak function. Inside the Lagerzimmerbunker, yes, we'll call it that for now, there was the Navy War Room. The bunker was built with offices for high-ranking officers. There was also telecommunication rooms and meeting rooms, etc.
Get down here, trench, walk around it. Another ungraceful jump. Alright. We got wet. That's not the way into the trench. Because it's one of the walls. And when I say trench, obviously it's not a trench. It is just the way things have fallen and a way to walk around this thing. The things nature is hiding. The things forests are hiding. Alright, so this must be it. This is not it. I was just here. Okay. Huh. Here we go. Here's the rebar. So here's the rebar that's missing on the roof. This is what I would have expected to see up there. Stay positive, work hard and make it happen. I dig it. People that crawl around in bunkers have common sense. Good, decent, intelligent, hardworking people. How is there mosquitoes? It's almost freezing here. Alright, fine. Keep wondering to think this might have been the main room. And then all this up here was literally just... Keep thinking that all this up here were literally just filler, cement, some rebar to bomb-proof it, and down in here were the actual rooms. Because this looks like another just a huge section with a platform on top. Now, there's a few of these bunkers out here. From what I understand, this is the Navy's communication center for the submarines, or the U-boats. Which would, I mean, on one hand it would explain why there's platforms for antennae upstairs. On the other hand, do you really want to tell the Royal Air Force this is where my antennas are that might protrude from the treetops, especially in winter, drop bombs here? Or would you put the antenna, 500 yards or something apart from the actual structure? More questions to be looked into. And again, I just wonder why there's this open area right here. These open spaces, literally you put the bunker in the edge of a forest. We always refer to that as a shell magnet. There's something over there, isn't there? There's a structure over there. Oh well. Let's go over and have a look. I just wonder if there's an underground, or there was a little lake or something right here. Well, It doesn't even look like an actual structure. There's one in there as well. And the bunker is over there. Look like something you'd build up for paintball. Or then again, or there was a Soviet era structure here, and all these bricks and stones are the ones they used to enhance the bunker over there.
After the Cold War had begun, the Volkspolizei, or the Betriebskampfgruppen, used these ruins to train military tactics, and thereby performing some slight modifications to the ruins, and this sort of explains why it looks like there is a small fort built on top of the ruins. Initially, I thought this was just a bunch of kids that had been playing there.
And now that I ran into a really nice family with the kids, explained something to me. The bunker I was just looking at, that was the flak bunker. That's why there's 3 or 4 platforms on top for flaks. And the actual bunker is down this road. You gotta love it. It is a beautiful day in a European forest in the autumn, and it is gorgeous and the weather is amazing. And now you start to see things here. See, there's something in there. Ooh, and there's something over there. This is where it gets to be interesting, because well, so there are 3 positions side by side, which is what I would imagine. What is this? Well, this is a room. This is another one of those, looks like a guard shack. I don't really think there's anything in here. There's not. Almost looks like it's been cleaned up. Fairly recent. I mean, it is from that time, but well, it could also have been East German, to be quite honest. Now, pole, red pole, flak bunker down there, guard shack in there. So we will be coming to the large bunker who I am seeing to my left. Oh, that's so much more like it. Oh, yes. However, what is this? What is this? I see a platform. Oh, water reservoir. Sloping sides. That has some sort of sealant on there. Oh, okay. Well, let's go see what we came for. Something bigger and better. Yes. Is that a old gate post? I'm guessing post-war. This looks so much bigger. Yes. Here's something bigger. Alright, now we're cooking.
This is the large, giant Luftwaffe bunker. Now, as all the original plans had been destroyed, including most of the photographs, if not all, it is very hard to say exactly what the original layout of the complex was, or even of this Luftschutzbunker. We do know that it had 3 above-ground floors. There were 2 entrances, one from east and one from the west, and it would hold about 750 people. However, in different locations around Germany and France today, there are remaining bunkers of a similar design that we can compare this one to. And they do resemble what we'd seen at Hitler's location out at Wolfsleer, or Wolfschanze as well.
Okay. Significantly bigger. Now this definitely looks like something I would see at Wolfsleer. And here's the protected entrance, like we see at Wolfsleer. Had a few of the, but the communication bunker comes to mind. Even some of the smaller ones. Well, the protected entrance. So if a bomb would fall out here, it still wouldn't make its way into the actual bunker. I see how thick these walls are. That separated, of course, when it was demolished. Wow. Overview. That over there would have been the roof. Oh, we already got a spider on board. It looks like the roof that caved in. Yeah, that thing would have been on the roof in a different position. Wow, they blew these up really much more destruction here than at Wolfsleer. I wonder if the Russians did this. This really was very large. The rebar sticking out of the wall. Pry bar? Pry bar, anybody? This was another protected entrance. Everything to the left is just to protect these. And then there would have been another turn in here, and this would made its way into the actual bunker, which is no longer an option. Damn, this was really, really well demolished. Still some of the original graffiti writing on the wall. Now there's a piece of rebar digging into my brain. Fortunately, no damage done. Huh. I'll go over there. Wooden dowel for a switch. Then there would have been these two entrance doors on either side of the bunker. Air vents. Don't think there was a door here. They were inside. Wow. Hooks for camouflage netting, I would imagine. Wow, this is a very, very tall building. This would have been a wall looking at the vertical horizontals from the way it was poured. That fell to the side. So I built a smaller bunker inside and then encased that in a giant structure. All this is part of the outer protective structure, and the inside half collapsed onto itself, unfortunately. This is the roof that has buckled and come down. This was the roof. Man, they must have used a lot of explosives here. Wow. I think this is still on the inside of the white wall. Still white. I gotta give it to that. That's really surprising that the paint has survived. Why have people been digging here? This is, well, that's interesting. This sort of leads me to think maybe there's an underground, or at least a floor down. I mean, and why wouldn't there be such a big structure? Why wouldn't there be an underground? It would make much more sense if there was. That's the other entrance. Since the roof is lying right inside this door, I am imagining we won't be able to see much. Here, not even the writing survived. Blown up well it is. Blown up well it is. Now, there's trees all over it, so I don't think I can drone it. Don't think I can show you from above, unfortunately. This does resemble something I've seen at Wolf's Lair. It truly does. There's a tree right there. There'll probably been a ventilation station, that one, on the roof.
Unfortunately, today, due to the foliage, I could not find the smaller radio bunker and the nearby or underground bunker that would hold up to 130 people that was right beneath it. It is pretty much to a large extent its original design, and it was constructed to main receive and sending station. It was a single-story bunker with 2 radio rooms, a decryption room, a workshop, and an office for the commandant. This building had direct telephone connection to all sending stations, as well as the stations in Rouen and Paris. Underneath it, this 1-story bunker, is a 2-story bunker underground that was equally equipped with generators and other radio technical equipment, but it was just so forested and I did not have the coordinates. I couldn't find it today, so unfortunately I have to come back next year. Yay.
Behind me is Vanna von Braun's first test stand. Down the road is Deimler's nuclear reactor. Over there is the Maginot Line and all its amazing forts. I'm visiting them all and I'm bringing them to you. So I really appreciate you like, follow, and share what I'm doing, trying to document all these important historical locations. And if you feel like you want to watch more pictures or documents that I use for these, go to lostbattlefields.com. And if you feel like helping me out with my travels, because gasoline and travel and airfare is expensive, my PayPal is there, protectionserviceint.com. You are more than welcome, but you don't have to. I appreciate all your support and all your help, and I love seeing these locations, and I love bringing them to you.